pushing Trim back to tee him up. There he lands a right hand. Solid uppercut by Gregg. Another uppercut.
Another one. He has Trim in trouble.
Trim in real trouble now here in round 4. Wobbling. Gregg after him in the corner right above us.
Another uppercut by Gregg. That's been his best punch in this sequence, Tim. Brings that right hand up to the body and head.
Trim gamely standing up, but that's about all at this point. And now he's wobbled back into the corner.
They better take a good look at Trim. And there it is.
Mark Tessman steps in, says that's enough. It is all over here in the 4th round with Eddie Gregg of New York stopping Tom Trim of Houston, Texas. The 4th round in Beaumont, Texas. That right uppercut effective throughout the early portion of the fight, and in the 4th round a couple of big ones rocking Trim, and then a busy Eddie Gregg putting the combinations on to stop him. We'll go back into this replay here in the 4th round. We'll see that big right uppercut that rocked him right there. Gregg springing to the advantage, knowing he had Trim hurt. Tom Trim gamely just staying up at this point. Watched closely by referee Mark Tessman, and he'll take one more uppercut. That one just grazing his chin, and so it is all over. A 4th round knockout for Eddie Gregg. Eddie Gregg of New York with a 4th round knockout of Tom Trim. And here we see in the corner the last gasp try by Trim, but Mark Tessman had already decided to step in and stop it. So Eddie Gregg moves to 18-0-1 with his 14th knockout, the unbeaten number 20 rated WBC heavyweight.
The judges are assigned by the New York State Athletic Commission Chairman John R. Branca. County for the knockdowns, Oscar Perez, the timekeeper Freddie Abatiello. The judges are Eva Shane, Al Reed, and George DeGabriel. And the referee for the main event, Vinny Raymond. This is the main event at 10 rounds. In the blue corner, formerly from Detroit, Michigan, now residing in Scranton, Pennsylvania, wearing white and black trunks, weighing 210 pounds, young Playboy Lewis. And in the red corner, from Kew Gardens, New York, wearing blue and white trunks, weighing 212 pounds, 19-0, 16 by 2, Eddie Gregg. 10 rounds, referee Vinny Reno. Flying close.
10-round contest. When I say break, I want Rocket snap, then you continue to box. If you cause the knockdown, I'll put you in a neutral corner. Remain there until I call you out. If you come out sooner, I'll stop counting. You understand that? You understand that? Shake hands and good luck, fellas. Protect yourself at all times.
Scheduled for 10, young Playboy Lewis in the white trunks on your left, and Eddie Gregg in the blue trunks on your right, heavyweights. And since he stepped into the ring, young Lewis hasn't taken his eyes off of Eddie Gregg, and Eddie Gregg never looked at him once until the bell sounded.
And you remember what I said in the early part of the show, Sam. In the early rounds, like the first 3 rounds, watch young Lewis. He can punch, but after that he runs out of gas. And you can tell by that little pot he's got hanging over that, the front of his trunks there.
Young Lewis is 30 years old, has a record of 14-5 with 11 knockouts from Scranton, Pennsylvania.
I would say that he's not a very diligent trainer. Eddie Gregg, a methodical fighter.
Eddie's corner, and Eddie has been working with different trainers. Eddie's people want him to throw his punches in combinations.
He's working with Tommy Gallagher now. Gallagher has been working with him now for some months, and he's a good teacher as well as a good trainer.
Eddie said in that last fight over Robert Adams, his last one, that he had the flu and really didn't have much left after the 4th round. Early in the fight, he was hitting well, throwing those combinations well. Wound up winning the fight, but was weak after the 4th round. We'll see how he does tonight.
Young Lewis, he started his career in 1975 and then proceeded to take 3 years off right after that. Didn't fight again until 1979. bulk of his pro fights have been in Detroit.
Eddie Gregg always seems to be in real good shape. Like that good-looking body, he never seems to quite get that body into his punches.
He would crouch a little, he'd get more into the punch, Sam. He's a straight-up fighter.
Tends to be an arm puncher.
Just try it sometimes. Just bend over a little bit and you'll find how much more power because you're coming up with the punch when you're bent over like that, and the power is there when you're doing that.
Nice right hand came in behind that jab. Eddie Gregg putting some pressure on Vinny Raynon as the referee. Gregg, the other aspect about Eddie Gregg as a boxer, he is a good defensive fighter. He will pick off a lot of punches. One-time football player. Less than 10 seconds to go in the first round. Gregg blocking that looping right hand from young Lewis. From Madison Square Garden Spelt Forum, this is professional boxing.
Madison Square Garden Cablevision, the network that brings legends to living rooms in the world of sports, now also presents diversified entertainment programming, including classic television spy adventures with Patrick Macnee and Diana Rigg in The Avengers, trendsetters of the art, fashion, and music world on Andy Warhol's TV, and some of the biggest names in the entertainment world with The Jonathan Schwartz Show, all on the Madison Square Garden Network. Consult your local listings for time and channel or contact your local cable system. The Avengers, one of television's classic spy adventure series, starring Diana Rigg and Patrick Macnee, is part of the nightly lineup on Madison Square Garden Cablevision. The Avengers, the innovator in pulsating mystery, combined with tongue-in-cheek humor, is on 7 nights a week in the 11 o'clock time period where it first became popular. Tune in The Avengers every night at 11 o'clock on Madison Square Garden Cablevision.
Gregg and young Lewis. Gregg in the trunks, young Lewis in the white trunks. Eddie Gregg is third fight of 1984. Big time trend in January in Omaha, Texas. Not fourth round. And here at the Forum, March 30th, he won a unanimous decision over Robert Adams.
A lot of guys are starting to walk away from Gregg now when West is not here at the Garden. Proposed fights, they go good now with Gregg. One of them recently was Broad.
Got some good skills in there, no question. He's a good athlete. The only thing he is lacking as a fighter is a big punch. He doesn't have that punch.
I think he lacks a little aggressiveness. He's really going after try to go to work on him. He tried to hit that strong belly of his as often as he can because he's right out there and it's very inviting.
You have to be careful about guys with a bongo belly. Walter Santor walked in the normal day with a bongo belly. Bongo cloud right into the arena.
How about down with his beer belly? They were very proud of that. It was a courage.
And Lewis pressuring Eddie Gregg here. Gregg covers up well. A couple of those punches got through for young Lewis. There you see the flurries of Eddie Gregg. Eddie shook up young Lewis.
It was a right hand that did it, Sam.
A delayed reaction and an uppercut lands, and the straight right sends young Lewis down. Young Lewis is up at 4. He'll take a mandatory 8 count.
He's looking in his corner, and at the referee as much as to say, what happened?
I don't think Vinny Raynon counted to 8. Young Lewis went down there, and I think he has had it. And Raynon almost knocked Eddie Gregg out of the ring. And that one is all over. Young Lewis shaking his head, but don't think that second knockdown was all that much. The first one was a real solid one. The second one, young Lewis just went down.
A little bit of an accent. He's trying now to get an Academy Award. He knows real well that the fight was over and all the fight was out of him.
No question about it. Eddie Gregg has won again, his 17th knockout. He has now won 20 and had one draw in his professional career.
Take another look at it and watch the right hand of Eddie Gregg. An uppercut. You see him plant that right hand. It's going to be a delayed action. There it is. There it is. He's gone. And he took quite a few shots before that right hand. And right now, he has made up his mind that he's had enough, and all that stuff that went on after that was just an act.
Nice work by Eddie Gregg. He got him hurt, and he finished him off quickly.
Yes,
good work. Quick work for Eddie Gregg. Let's get the official time from Marvin Goldberg.
The time, 2 minutes and 26 seconds of the second round, won by a TKO, Eddie Gregg.
Eddie Gregg is now 19-0 with one draw, 15. This is his 16th knockout. And that is now his 20th win for Eddie Gregg.
Another look.
As he puts away young Lewis in the second round. We will be back with more boxing in a moment. Defeated heavyweight looking for recognition. I talked with him a little while ago about it.
Eddie Gregg, the word we get from you and from your trainers are that we're going to see a different Eddie Gregg in the ring tonight. How so?
Well, we've been working on some different things. We've been working on sitting a little bit more, punching more with the body, and throwing punches, and not aiming punches, but just throwing punches to get them there, not aiming them. I had a habit of aiming punches before, trying to hit certain spots, and it always didn't happen that way. I just aim for the chin and miss the chin. So now I'm just going to throw punches and see what happens and hope for the best.
Now, we haven't seen you in a couple of months. Do you feel that you're better than you have been in the last several fights?
Well, I feel I'm better. I feel it. I feel great. I've been training a little hard. I added a few things to my training routine, and I think it's given me a little more strength and stamina and a little more punching power. And we'll see tonight what it has done for me.
Your weight is down. You've usually fought about 215. Now you're down to 209. What do you attribute that to, and do you feel that will help you?
Well, I attribute it to the vigorous training routines that I've been going through. But what people don't understand is that, or don't know much about me, is that when I've fought at a lower weight, I've performed better. When I've been at a higher weight, I just seem to be a little sluggish or a little slow or methodical. But when I fought like 210, 209, 211, I fought 210 before, and I was sharp and crisp. And so I think that at this weight, I'm sharper and crisper.
Eddie, I know you're looking for recognition. Do you feel that some of the heavyweights in the division are avoiding you?
Well, I'm not going to say that. I don't know what to say about that. People, I find it hard to believe. Well, I guess it is true that sometimes if a fighter has more to lose than to gain, he might not want to fight me in the situation in the top 10. Well, I can understand that, but sooner or later, they're going to have to fight me. And not that I'm, like people say I'm starving for recognition. Hey, we all want recognition, but if I keep winning, it'll come.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Eddie Gregg, and he's in the ring. We last saw him at the Felt Forum on October 14th. This is his second fight of 1984. We are set for the introductions to our co-featured event. Let's go into the ring to ring announcer Carl Martin.
Ladies and gentlemen, this bout is 10 rounds heavyweights. And here from Jersey City, New Jersey, wearing blue trunks, he's in at 209 pounds. His record is 6-6-3 with 2 knockouts. Robert Lee Evans. Robert Lee Evans. And his opponent at 209 pounds, wearing white trunks with a blue stripe from Kew Gardens, New York. He's undefeated, 18 wins, 1 draw, 15 knockouts. Eddie Gregg. Eddie Gregg. And the referee is Vin Ferguson. Vin Ferguson.
Vinny
Ferguson will have the instructions for the fighters as they come to the center of the ring. As John mentioned at the top of the show, Robert Evans' record a bit deceiving because he's been around with some tough fighters, and we'll go into that in a moment after the instructions.
All right, gentlemen, you're boxing under the rules of New York State Athletic Commission. As your referee, I'm going to enforce those laws. Understand? There are 3 points I want you to remember. Number 1, low blows can cost you a round. Number 2, in case of a knockdown, the man scoring a knockdown will go to the furthest neutral corner and remain there until I tell him to come out. Number 3, and most important, gentlemen, I don't want to put my hands on you. I don't want to be pulling you apart. So when you hear my voice, I will say break, step back, stop punching. Okay? Shake hands and box at the bell.
You heard it. There's Eddie Gregg going back to his corner. Eddie Gregg, 29 years old, maybe 30. I don't know, John. Is he?
Right. Right. As I mentioned, he's got to start moving fast. You asked him a good question there, Sam, about other fighters avoiding him. Ronaldo Snipes himself, not his manager, said, no good. I don't want to fight Gregg.
Eddie Gregg, 6'5", 209. We've seen him at 215. Evans coming out. Looks a little soft in the middle, but coming out very aggressive.
Yes, he is. He's coming out fast. Eddie Allen, who is the manager of Mark McDowell and who has an interest in Robert Evans, says that I told Harold Weston that he thinks that Eddie Gregg is in for a surprise tonight. We'll see.
Eddie Gregg landed a good right hand that sent Evans back against the ropes, and Evans may be the one in for a surprise if Eddie Gregg keeps landing rights like that.
Right. Gregg takes a real good punch, by the way, and Mr. Robert Lee Evans is a pretty big target, Sam. He's there. And Eddie Gregg throws a fast punch. What is this new style he was talking about?
Well, he said about, I guess he said about bending a little bit, sitting down, he called it, sitting down, getting his body into the punches more, which we have always felt he throws a lot of arm punches.
Straight up. Well, I'll tell you about a fighter changing styles, especially a fighter like Gregg, who's had, what, 19 fights? Something like that. 19, right. It's kind of hard to change your style after you've had that many fights.
Eddie Gregg, born in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Oh, right hand by Gregg.
Scores again.
He hurt him with that first right hand.
Evans holding on.
Some good body work now. Eddie hurts when he hits you. There's another right hand to the head by Gregg.
And he's throwing some pretty good punches here.
Yes, he is. He's leaning forward. His weight is all forward, and so everything is in the punch.
And look what he's doing. Evans trying to get off the ropes, and every time he does, Gregg gets him right back on there. And Eddie Gregg's going for it.
Yes.
Gregg, sharp jab.
He's got everything in command now.
Eddie Gregg looking very good. This is the best I've seen him, John.
Right.
Good right hand again by Eddie Gregg.
He's not, his style is a little bit different. He's a little more aggressive now, Sam. He used to lay back there and stand and wait for the opponent to come to him, but he's chasing Evans.
And he is putting a lot of the body behind that right, John. He never used to. Sometimes it almost looked like you were pitter-pattering with his punches at times. Evans trying to fight Eddie Gregg off.
Evans throws a punch and then covers up. Instead of continuing to be aggressive, he becomes a defensive fighter after he throws a punch.
Evans knocked out young Joe Louis in the second round, January 18th. And he's trying to follow that up here, but Eddie Gregg off to a good start in this first round.
And doing real good work to the body, Sam. He's sneaking him in there.
That right continues to land for Eddie Gregg as we come to the bell, round one.
This 8-ounce piece of metal is the amazing Mitsubishi turbine impeller, the heart of the Mitsubishi Tredia Turbo sedan. Road and Track calls the Tredia Turbo straight-line performance nothing short of amazing. Auto Week says it has a distinct sports car feel. Car and Driver calls it a pocket rocket with plenty of power on tap. At $89.89, the Mitsubishi Tredia Turbo takes you where you've never been before.
If you're ready for high-performance photography, the Minolta X700 program system is ready for you. Computerized, motorized, systematized, total capability, from fully programmed where you said nothing, even with flash, to creative manual where you control everything. The high-performance Minolta X700, voted camera of the year on 2 continents. Only from the mind of Minolta.
scheduled for 10. Eddie Gregg in the white trunks. Robert Evans in the blue. And Gregg picking it right up, got tagged with a left hook.
Gregg is the kind of a fighter, Sam, who is a lot better than he looks. He's not an impressive-looking fighter. He's an impressive-looking person, but not an impressive-looking fighter. But he's good, and he gets the job done.
Oh, he's always done that in our previous fights here that we've seen him. But here he just looks better in throwing his punches, John. He's leaning forward, as you mentioned. He's getting his body behind that right hand. Evans trying to load up his overhand right.
Well, Gregg has a lot of advantages over Robert Lee Evans. He's taller, he's faster, he's got a longer reach. And I would like to see him move outside and just work from there. Doesn't need to do this. He could do it from outside. He's got some good boxing ability. He certainly's got the punch.
Evans got in a couple of right hands that stung Eddie Gregg. Eddie Gregg had his eyes widened by those punches of Robert Evans. Evans starting to land.
He's catching, too. He's catching a lot of punches.
Evans in that 6-6-2 record, 6-6-3 record, lost a split decision back in 1980 to Tim Witherspoon, the current WBC heavyweight champion. Also was stopped by James Broad in 1981. James Broad, the ESPN heavyweight champion. We've got heavyweight champions all over the place.
He's strong, Robert Evans. He's strong. Question of can he lay it on Eddie often enough to knock him out? That's a little question.
A little reversal here with Gregg toward the ropes and Evans on the outside now. And Evans landing.
Eddie is not... Eddie might be a little tired, Sam. He's fighting like he's a little bit tired.
Got a lot of energy. I don't know. He looked to be in real good shape.
And, of course, Evans is not as fresh as a daisy himself, so it's been a pretty good pace right from the start.
Final seconds of round 2, scheduled for 10. These are heavyweights, and from Madison Square Garden's Felt Forum, this is professional boxing. That's Robert Lee Evans from Jersey City in the blue trunks. And from Kew Gardens, New York, Eddie Gregg in the white. Eddie Gregg's only fight of 1984 was in Beaumont, Texas, January 29th. Stopped Tom Trim in the 4th round. Eddie Gregg had 5 fights in 1983. Won 3 by knockout. Won all 5, 3 by knockout. Gregg started his pro boxing career late. Started at age 25.
Kind of tough. That's a long road, Sam, at the age of 25. Rocky Marciano was one who was able to do it. He started at 25. But it's a long road when you start at that age.
Former football player, Eddie Gregg. When he snaps that jab, he looks good. Follows with that right.
He's fighting him outside now. He's not moving inside, mauling with Evans. He's fighting him outside. I think he could do well out there if he stays there. He's got the jab.
Oh, yes. Look at that combination. The mouthpiece out of the mouth of Evans.
Let's just fight outside. He should stay outside.
That was a pretty combination by Eddie Gregg as he goes to stop Robert Evans, and Evans tries to hold on. Gregg won't let him. Eddie Gregg going after him. That right has been beautiful for Eddie Gregg.
Mouthpiece is still lying on the canvas. Now
Ferguson picks it up. Eddie Gregg stalking Robert Evans, trying to stop him here in this 3rd round.
I tell you, Evans has got to be in some kind of shape to be able to take what he's taking right now.
He took a real wicked right hand.
Eddie had him going, and he let him off the hook, didn't he?
This point, it looks like he did.
Yes, Evans is trying to get back a little bit now.
Evans got in that overhand right. Evans getting in a couple of lefts. Evans coming back here.
See the difference in the styles of fighters like Buddy McGirt now and Eddie Gregg. Buddy McGirt had a man, if he had a man hurt as much as Evans is hurt all over, he'd have no problem finishing him off. Gregg has not learned that. Maybe he never will.
There's that straight right again. This looked good for Eddie Gregg.
He should stay right out there. Stay in the middle of the ring or stay away from him and punch from outside.
Eddie Gregg breathing heavily. He spent a lot of energy and gets in a good left hook. Nice short left hook by Eddie Gregg.
And a good shot to the body by Eddie Gregg.
Late in round 3. Big round for Eddie Gregg as he lands the uppercut. Evans just holding on, trying to last the round.
Pushing him away now. That's it. This round is over, and Eddie Gregg got an extra lick in. Eddie in his corner. That's him on the right. Now look at the way he's sitting down. He's pretty tired.
He's tired.
And so is Robert Lee Evans, of course.
In the corner, George Washington, the man in the ring. From the outside on the right, Tommy Gallagher, who's been working with Eddie Gregg at the South Queens Boys Club.
And the doctor is in the ring looking at Robert Evans, just a precautionary measure. There's nothing really much wrong with him outside of being tired. We'll take another look at the action in that last round now.
There's that combination.
He's opening the door, and there's the right hand. He sent him back with it. See the left hand? He should have jabbed a couple more times with that left.
Boy, if he didn't get whiplash from that right hand, I don't know what would give it to him.
You've got to have a neck that's really in shape to take punches like that.
Eddie Gregg comes out looking a little tired.
Yes, he is.
Let's see.
That's his style, though, Eddie. Sam, I'm sorry. He gets tired early in the fight. Eddie Gregg does.
But he's done a lot of good things in this fight thus far, John.
He's in against a tough guy. The guy is a tough guy, Robert Adams. There's no question about that.
Evans, though, looking at him between rounds, John, it just looks like he could be a lot firmer. You know,
he's a rubbery heavyweight, Sam. He's got that kind of a body. He's got a little sword around the middle.
Say this for him, there's no dog in him.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Eddie should stay right out there and just wing that right hand.
Evans is winging his left hand and scoring on Eddie Gregg.
And when Gregg throws the right hand, the short punch is no good. Outside, it's a good punch because it's a big punch from out there. Inside, it's not all that much.
Gregg had a good first round, a good third round. Evans had a good second and is coming on here in the fourth and hurting Eddie Gregg.
Yes, he is. Gregg is just fighting a stupid fight right now. He's laying on top of Evans, and Evans is catching up with him. Gregg is really taking punches now, punches he shouldn't have to take.
Absolutely.
He might be very tired, though, Sam. That might be the reason why he's hanging out inside. He just wants to hold on to Evans.
Looks like
stay up.
Looking to rest for this round, and it's a mistake.
And I'm looking at Gregg's legs, and they're not all that good, Sam. Not all that good at all.
Coming late in round 4.
See the legs on Gregg. He's just flat-footed as can be, and
Robert Evans continues.
Not moving at all. I'm sorry.
That's okay.